Why is time slower in Helheim than it is in Midgard? And why is time slower in Midgard than it is in Jotunheim? If time passes faster in Jotunheim, wouldn't that mean Ragnarok has already happened in Jotunheim? Would that mean that the murals in Jotunheim weren't really predicting the future but portraying the past? How does time work in God of War? I think I have an idea, and I drew a diagram. Look here. Let 3 lines represent how time passes in different realms: Helheim, Midgard, and Jotunheim. Notice how time flows differently in each realm. Despite the difference in the path time takes in each realm, the time in each realm actually travels alongside one another. For example, let's say a period of time passes from the beginning of each line to the points I marked on the diagram that are connected by the dotted stripe and represented by the arrow at the bottom. When time passes in each realm, they pass alongside one another and they all reach their respective points at the same moment. But now, if we take the amount of time passed we just measured from each realm and stretch it out, we can see that in reality, the amount of time passed in each realm is drastically different from one another. Even though from our perspective, the duration it took for the time in each realm to reach their respective points was exactly the same. And as you can see here, even though each realm experienced the same time, the amount of time passed in Hel would be much greater than the amount of time passed in Midgard, and the amount of time passed in Midgard would be much greater than the amount of time passed in Jotunheim. This is why when Kratos spent quite some time in Hel, not much time passed in Midgard.
Here. How did they return so quickly?
Time doesn't move the same between all realms, especially where the spirit world is concerned.
Like the light of Alfheim.
The opposite, in fact. The Lake of Souls feels faster than Alfheim time, but Hel is much slower than Midgard. Sorry, I'm sure that's confusing.
If we will be back to my son all the sooner, that is good.
Ah, aren't you a quick study?
But when Kratos spent little time in Jotunheim, a lot of time passed in Midgard.
Before we return to Midgard, I should warn you, more time has passed than you likely realize. The snowfall that began when you slew Baldur has become something else.
Now that we established how time travels faster/slower in different realms, wouldn't this mean Ragnarok would happen first in Jotunheim, then in Midgard, then Hel? Well, yes and no. Because when you travel to another dimension, you would be traveling to the same point in time. It is only when you stay in a realm does then the time in the other realms become different. Does that make sense? No. Wait, let me say that better. Let's say that Ragnarok happens in Midgard, but then a part of the war is taken to Jotunheim. Due to the time difference, perhaps by the time Ragnarok just ends in Jotunheim, Ragnarok would have ended long ago in Midgard, and everyone has already moved on. But the theory that Ragnarok already happened is not that far-fetched. Cory Barlog did claim that time will play a huge role in God of War Ragnarok.
Yeah, he's just hanging on that mountain there.
There was such a big theme about time, and I don't know if I fully understand it. I gotta like beat this game like 5 more times, but it's, you know, Kratos going into the light and the time being different, and then Mimir has a line about Helheim moving slower than Midgard, and I'm just wondering, and then of course the end when Thor comes and it says years later. It's just all these elements of like, well, you know, time moves differently in places. And I want to like dive deep into that, but I don't know if that's like setting up things to come or.
Yes, it is.
That's what I figured.
Yeah.
Given that Atreus is Loki, and Loki is fated to bring about Ragnarok with his wife, who is already present in the game, this appears to be a plausible theory. It is widely known that Loki is pitted against the gods of Asgard, Thor, Odin, and Heimdall, together with his sons Fenrir and Jormungandr, in the last battle of Ragnarok. The events conclude with Thor succumbing to the serpent's venom, Odin being consumed by Fenrir, and Loki and Heimdall murdering each other. But in God of War, there seems to be a few differences. One is that the battle between Thor and the serpent was so intense, it caused a gap in time, allowing Loki to escape his claimed death.
That's impossible.
Don't I quite agree? Unless, perhaps, he refers to something yet to be. It is said that when Jormungandr and Thor battle at Ragnarok, their clash so violently shakes the Tree of Life that it splinters, casting the serpent backward through time, even before his own birth.
What?
That is madness.
Well, I did say not to concern yourself.
And the trickster god, seeing all the damage around him and the horrors he has perpetrated, chooses to jump through the gap before it shuts, sending him hundreds of years before Ragnarok or even his own birth. From then on, Loki stays in the shadows and keeps himself as hidden as possible. He also communicates with his future wives while burying the children who would one day kill Odin and Thor, and he uses his knowledge of the future to find an outcome that would allow the world to continue better after Ragnarok. And after viewing the future, he finds his mother, devises a plan with the Frost Giants to start Ragnarok a few hundred years early, and sets in motion a chain of events that will bring a brighter future to fruition. But hey, that's just a theory. A God of War theory. Thank you for watching, like, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video.
Goodbye, Faye.
I love you, Mom. The Giants. They really are all gone. There's nothing for us here.
Come.
So, I get that Mother was a giant, which makes me part giant and part god.
And part mortal.
Right. I guess there's just one thing I don't understand. My name on the wall. The Giants called me... Loki?
Loki. That's the name your mother wanted for you when you were born. She must have called you that to her people.
But why?
A question for another day. Let us go home.